Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. We'll start.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna
Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So, Shri Radha Govind ki jai. We'll start with the prayers. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaya Katamahyam Dadanti Swapadantikam Namao Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hariharaya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Govindaya Namaha Hariharaya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha Sri Krishna Hari Bol Gopala Hari Bol Radha Ramana Govinda Hari Bol Sri Krishna Hari Bol Gopala Hari Bol Radha Ramana Govinda Hari Bol Jai Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Shri Shri Radha Govind ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So welcome you all to the level 2 class of Bhagavad Gita, and today we are going to learn about chapter number 13, the remaining part. Okay. Hope this is visible now. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji, it is possible.
So we have been discussing about the soul, the Prakriti, the Purusha, Kshetragya, Kshetra. So all these things. So Prakriti is the nature, Purusha is the Lord himself, Kshetra is the body, what we possess, Kshetragna is the knower of the body. And the analogy what we have discussed yesterday is the king and the farmer in the same kingdom. Okay, so uh, so the ultimate practice, what we do is to uh, clean our inner soul so that we could see the super soul which is there inside us and go back to the Godhead in the same pure state. Okay. So, but it's very difficult in a human life because we are in a material life full of contamination and we come in contact with the three material nature by three different modes. So unless we stay in a sattva guna and follow all the austerities what we have discussed yesterday, it is not possible for us to uh, practice spirituality and stay in Krishna consciousness and move forward in the bhakti. So all devotee association is one thing, taking the shelter of spiritual master is one thing, and associated with the temple and reading the scriptures regularly is the one which keep us on the track and help us to progress further in the bhakti. He is the source of light in all luminous object. He is beyond the darkness of matter and he is unmanifested. He is the knowledge. He is the object of knowledge. He is the goal of knowledge and he is situated in everyone's heart. So, as I told and as we have discussed yesterday, that inner soul is a element of a Lord Krishna. Okay. So, he is there within. Nothing from outside we have to imbibe and acquire the quality and sharpen it. So if we are internally, we are making ourselves clean and eligible enough, automatically it will self-illuminate and it will give you the required light to progress further in the life. So super soul is the source of all knowledge and enlightenment, as we have discussed. Yes, he is within, but he is the source of light in all luminous object, and he is beyond the darkness of matter, is unmanifested, is object of knowledge and the goal of knowledge, and he is situated in everyone's heart. So the only by doing the sadhana bhakti, we are re-establishing our relationship with the Lord. Thus, the field of activities, knowledge, and the knowable have been summarily described by me. Only my devotees can understand this thoroughly and thus attain my nature. Okay. So I wanted any of the devotee volunteer to please read this.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Qualification to understand Kshetra, Kshetragyan, Jnana and Jnanam. Fully understood by devotees.
Hare Krishna. Can I read, ma'am?
Mataji Prabhu is reading already. You can read next step.
Okay, sorry, it wasn't heard.
Yeah.
Kshetra, field of activities. Kshetra Jana, knower of the field, soul and super soul. Mad Bhakta, Gyan, knowledge and the process of acquiring knowledge. Jnana, object of knowledge. Knowledge means understanding oneself in Krishna consciousness and realizing Krishna in everything. Knowledge is nothing but preliminary stage of understanding devotional service perfectly. Vichna, knower, knowable and process of knowing is called science of knowledge or Vigyan. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Conclusion.
Conclusion, Bhagavad Gita 13.13 to 18 explain the soul and super soul as the knowable, and super soul is the ultimate object to be known. Hare Krishna Mata.
Hare Krishna. See, at the end again, it implies the same meaning that we have to invoke that inner consciousness or the soul which is there inside us. It has to be connected to the super soul by this process of sadhana bhakti. Okay, that is the only thing by which we can go back to the Godhead. Otherwise, we are in this material world where by in this with this body different type of activities will be done, and once we get entangled in this, it becomes next to impossible to come out of it. Only by bhakti we can come out of this situation. Okay, Krishna's answers question 1 and 2, that is Prakriti Purusha and their union. So we will see that. Okay, material nature and the living entities should be understood to be the beginningless. Yes, because material is all present and living entities, again, they are into the trap of that birth, young age, old age, disease and death. Okay, they are in the trap. And the transformations and the modes of matter are products of material nature. See, this is how we interact with the material nature. So will be the end result of that. Karyakarana कर्तृत्वे हेतुर्प्रकृतिरुच्यते पुरुषा सुख दुःखानां भोक्तृत्वे हेतुरुच्यते. Nature is said to be the cause of all material effects, activities and effects, whereas the living entity is the cause of various suffering and enjoyments in this world. Okay, because we come in contact with the material nature, and some amount of karma will be done and will be entrapped in that. So it's very, very difficult. So by being in bhakti, it is possible for us to stay in sattva guna and help us to make a spiritual practice better. Purusha prakriti stohi punkte prakriti janguna karanam guna sangasyo sadasadyoni janmasu. The living entity in material nature thus follow the way of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus he meets with the good and evil amongst the various species. Okay, so as I told you, yeah, this is the nature effect, desire to enjoy forges the bond between the Purusha and the Prakriti. We feel that this is all eternal, the family is all eternal, the bhogas, the material enjoyment which is there around us is eternal. So the living entity follow the way of life according to the theme also of material nature, and association with material needs to be different, good and evil among the various species. So depending on different species in which we are there, the what do you say? They have different requirement. So they will be interacting with the material nature and they get the karma out of it. उपद्रष्टानुमन्ता च भर्ता भोक्ता महेश्वरा paramatmeti chapi yukto dehesmin purusha para. Yet in this body there is another, a transcendental enjoyer who is the Lord, who is sitting in the soul inside. Okay, the supreme proprietor who exists as the overseer and the permitter, and who is known as the super soul. Because he is the one, he is a seed-giving father, because of whom we are existing, we are doing these activities, we are interacting in the nature, everything depends on him. So we are in contact with him. So when it is something like, for example, any guest is coming home, very important guest whom we think that very important for us and all. So we try to maintain all ethics, comfort them and do the best what we can do for them, isn't it? Similarly, when the Lord is residing within our body, okay, the body is our home, isn't it? So how best we have to be. So that should be our attitude and mood when we are doing the sadhana bhakti. So one who understands this philosophy concerning material nature, the living entity and the interaction with the modes of nature is sure to attain liberation. He will not take birth here again regardless of his present position. So once he realizes his eternal relationship with the Krishna, and yes, the super soul is residing within us as a soul, and we have to take care of this body in a utmost possible way by which we can give them back to the Lord in a very uncontaminated way. So if we have this in our mind, So we'll be mindful of our activities, what we do, and we will focus on the sadhana bhakti. Hare Krishna Mataji, you wanted to read, no? Yes, you can read this. Parthiban Mataji, Hare Krishna. Anybody else wanted to read? They can.
Hare Krishna
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Result of knowing the philosophy. Bhagavad Gita 13.20 to 23. Liberation. One who understands philosophy concerning material nature, the interaction of the modes of nature, the living entity, sure to attain liberation. Knowledge of truly understanding the relationship between soul and supersoul, result, liberation, and return to the spiritual world. What is the purpose of knowledge? To understand how the living entity has fallen into this material world in a precarious condition. How to understand our position? Mati, it's not visible after that.
No, it's not there after that, Prabhu.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So one who understands philosophy concerning the material nature, the interaction of the three modes of material nature and the living entity is sure to attain the liberation. Okay, so that's what. First, we have to understand ourselves and our relationship with the Lord. Okay, once we know that we are answerable to the Lord and all, we have to maintain in such a way that all the process will take us in a pure state towards the Lord. So how to understand this? We have to do the sadhana bhakti and make only Krishna as a center of attraction, and everything else will fall into place. That super soul is perceived by some through meditation, by some through the cultivation of knowledge, and by others through the working without the fruitive desire. So this we have discussed in a 12th chapter, isn't it? So by following the regulative principles, knowing about the Lord, or otherwise we are working towards the Lord, or giving up the activities, whatever we are doing. So in that way, either partial or complete way, we are when we do that, automatically it is like doing a service to the Lord, and it helps us to progress further in the bhakti. Okay. So understanding through various types of yoga, the Lord explained two classes of conditioned soul, faithful in spiritual life, and the other ones, the atheist, agonist, agnostics, skeptics are beyond the sense of spiritual understanding. It also includes those who establish the doctrine of monism. So we are not interested in them. So we wanted the people who are faithful in spiritual life. So how do? They do the dhyana. They perceive the super soul through the meditation, Sankhya yoga, others through the cultivation of the knowledge, reading the scriptures and all, and karma yoga. They still work and without any fruitive desire. Okay, devotees of the Lord are best situated in spiritual understanding because they know that beyond the material nature are the spiritual world and Supreme Personality of the Godhead who expands as a Paramatma. Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Okay, because of the tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death. So different set of people, maybe because of the time factor, some are educated, some are not educated, and many factors are there. So Shravanam is the utmost of all the nine types of bhakti. Shravanam is the first and foremost one, by which if you are doing the Shravanam, then automatically you will go for liberation. So that should be from the authentic sources, from the disciplinic succession, and because it is unaltered. So likewise, if you are receiving the Shravana from the right sources, automatically a person will be relieved from the cycle of birth and death. So next verses are the Jnana Chakshusa, that is a vision of knowledge. So one who sees the super soul, living entities and material nature in the proper perspective sees through them. And this is a life cycle, like how we go. And this goes on. That's not like one time it will be finished. So this is a continuous process by which one goes through all this cycle. And if we wanted to, because it's a suffering, And if we wanted to break this cycle, automatically we have to do the sadhana bhakti by which we will go back to the Godhead. O chief of the Bharatas, whatever you see in existing, both moving and unmoving, is only the combination of field of activities and the knower of the field. Again, all the raw material belongs to Krishna. So whatever one is inventing, one is discovering, and one we are able to see, so the galaxies, the astrophysics, astronomics, and space, whatnot, everything belongs to Krishna. It is our intelligence that we are able to see it in a perfect shape and some productive form, but again the source belongs to Krishna. Spiritually realized persons can distinguish the spirit and matter in all circumstances. So whether you see in existence, whether moving or non-moving, only a combination of field of activities and the knower of the field. So this picture depicts what
Hare Krishna Mataji, I think of four regulative principles.
prison of material world. Okay. I am not able to see the small letters, Mataji. Anybody have a good vision than me? They can.
Mataji, can I read?
Yes, Mataji.
Prison rules.
Okay.
I think
Yeah, the print is very small.
rooms living must, everyone living here must grow old and die.
Okay.
There will be no
No
exceptions. Residents are to try to gratify the senses as much as possible. Since material desire can never be satisfied, every person will experience great
Anxiety. This is natural.
great anxiety. This is natural. Then
Hare Krishna Mataji, should I read? Because it's visible to me.
yes, please.
Okay, thank you. Residents are to try to gratify their senses as much as possible. Since material desires can never be satisfied, every person will experience great anxiety. This is natural. In cases of extreme frustration, residents must resort to a perverted sex, B, mere intoxication, C, violence. When things become completely unbearable, suicide is an option, but residents should be informed that anyone who else will anyone Madhuri, it's not visible here.
That's what. So what is the warning? It is given on the right side.
Mataji is written, whoever who dies.
If someone comes in the prison with what do you say?
Information on how to escape the inmates are required too.
Okay.
First one is ignore such a person, and second one must immediately see one of the prison psychiatrists to the reminded that everything is all agent here, Mataji, I think. All right here.
Okay. I'm not able to zoom in also. But whatever it is, the four regulative principles and four regulative principles is the main thing by which we are regulating our life. So that is the blessing of Krishna conscious devotee. So if you are deviating from that, then you are the what do you say, the prisoner of your own senses. Because every time it will ask, your mouth will ask something, your tongue will ask something, your skin will ask you something, and your eyes wanted something, and also don't become what do you say, a prisoner of your senses. So there are different rules by which we are. So to overcome the senses sensual enjoyment, it is always required that we engage our senses in service of the Lord, by which we will be free from all these materialistic manifestations. And see, spiritual master, taking shelter of spiritual master, all devotee association, doing the sadhana bhakti, all these things will help us to move forward in a life. So forget about the materialistic manifestations. So just on a random look, you can see Srila Prabhupada with the Gaurnita deities and Radha Krishna deity at the back. And here Prabhu with all the initiated devotees and all, you can see. So there is a, it's something like a music and the noise difference, isn't it? So people are so regulated and they are so calm and spiritually enlightened and all. And people who are not regulated, you can see they are haphazard and all distressful to enjoy the material things which are around. Okay. समं सर्वेषु भूतेषु तिष्ठानां परमेश्वरं विनश्यत्व अविनाश्यन्तं यः पश्यति स पश्यति. One who sees the super soul accompanying the individual souls in all bodies and who understands that neither the soul nor the super soul is ever destroyed actually sees me. So that is an elevated personality. You can see the Brahmana who is sitting here. He is an elevated person, and he can see the soul in all living entities which is there in and around them. Okay. And one who sees the indestructible super soul always accompanying the indestructible individual soul in all bodies is actually a seer. Okay. And how such vision is possible? The man, who is a man in real knowledge? So how it is possible? By having a good devotee association, taking shelter of bona fide spiritual master. So all devotee association will help us to achieve that. And who is the man in real knowledge? Is one who can see things in a proper perspective, the body, the proprietor soul, and the super soul as a friend of the soul. Okay. Because a learned person knows this is a vehicle by which I can attain the I can go back to the Godhead, so that he understand his nature, the soul within, the super soul, and its interaction and its relationship, and he will try to make it as a God-centric activity, so that he'll ultimately take the path of realization. So one who sees a super soul in every living entity and equal everywhere does not degrade himself by his mind. Thus, he approaches the transcendental destination because he knows that how exactly I have to take my step forward. So he does not degrade himself by pursuing selfish desires of the mind. And what is the current situation of the living entity? One has situated himself differently than in the spiritual world. And what is the role of a mind? If you remember in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So if you make your mind your friend, it is, if you have a control of your mind, then it is the best friend. But if you don't have a control over your mind, it's the best enemy. Okay. So the ultimate thing by doing on this sadhana bhakti and being in Krishna consciousness and engaging in senses in doing the service of the Lord is that we have a control over our mind and we are not trapped in this material world. Okay. So what is the role of the mind? When the mind turns into the super soul, that is towards Krishna, one becomes advanced and then one approaches the transcendental destination. But if not Krishna, then all little things, money, power, alcohol, all these things, so whatever you are seeing on the left hand side, you know, the gambling, addictions, all those things will come. Okay. So mind is generally addicted to the sense gratification because Maya is very powerful, you know, it is always there. It is the die-hard servant of Lord Krishna, and thus the people always take the wrong path, or it's very attractive. All wrong things are very attractive. So unless you regulate your mind in a proper channel, it's very difficult to overcome the sense enjoyment. Okay. So the people who are actually serious in pursuing this, then they will advance in the spiritual knowledge. Okay. So what is the best weapon what we have by which we can advance? all of us?
Chanting, hearing Bhagavad Gita, Mataji, chanting and all.
Yeah, chanting is ultimate weapon what we have in our hands. So the amount of chanting we are doing, increasing the rounds every day, automatically that help us to progress further in a bhakti. So one who can see that activities are all performed by the body, which is created of material nature, and sees that self does nothing actually. See, it is all predetermined. It's all Krishna's mercy. If you remember 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is when Arjuna realizes just he is an instrument in the hand of a Lord. So that makes him realize like how best we can be used by the Lord. So by becoming a God servant, he will use us for the best possible way for the betterhood of the mankind. Okay. When a sensible man ceases to see different identities due to different material bodies, and he sees how being expanded everywhere, he attains the Brahman conception. Okay, that is possible only by the human beings, because animals and all, they are strictly following the rules and regulations given by the Lord. Okay, they are not deviating from it. But it is all a human being, having a higher intelligence. We are not able to identify our species, the worth and the consciousness what we have, and we are finding it difficult to be as a human and establish a relationship. So we need to work hard to progress further in the bhakti. So vision of the actual seer who is serious in Krishna consciousness, as all activities are performed by the body which is created by material nature. So he knows he has a clarification and the self does nothing. Okay. Where somebody is preaching, somebody is teaching, somebody is doing some activity towards the Lord, everything is predetermined by Krishna, and Krishna is the one who is managing everything. Okay. And when does he attain Brahman conception? So purified consciousness can thus develop Krishna consciousness once we are practicing that. And when does he attain the Brahman conception? Cease to see the different identities due to different material bodies, and he sees how beings are expanded everywhere. Thus, absence of any material differentiation because of different bodies. So it is something like I can say you an example in our day-to-day life. Sometimes we try to what do you say, differentiate people. You are country wise, region wise, religion wise, caste wise, the yoni in which like if a dog is going, then we'll try to what a dog you are. So it's already a dog bites this thing and all. So we differentiate, but our consciousness is not trained, because we are not well equipped to identify the super soul which is there in each living entities. So the ultimate sadhana by which we do, then we can no, yes, maybe say suppose a person is lusty throughout his life. Okay, next to yoni there will be a tree. Okay, that's a punishment to them. So likewise, different yonis, the different species the Lord has created depending on the past karma. Okay, so only by reading scriptures, by doing the sadhana, we will come to know all about that. So it doesn't mean that somebody is in a parrot form or a peacock or a lion or a tiger or a snake or a turtle, whatever it is. So we should always identify their what do you say? We should be compassionate towards each and every living entity, because Krishna has created everyone, and depending on the past karma, they are having that specific unit. So ultimate purpose is that we should try to elevate ourselves to a higher level, so that we can develop only the Shuddha Sattva Guna, and we can be compassionate to all the living entities who are there in our life. Okay. अनादित्वान् निर्गुणत्वात् परमात्मयन् अव्यया शरीरस्थोऽपि कौन्तेय न करोति न लिप्यते. Those with the vision of eternity can see that the imperishable soul is transcendental, eternal, and beyond the modes of nature. Despite contact with the material body, O Arjuna, the soul neither does anything nor is entangled. So it is clear in 11th chapter, it's clear that Arjuna is the instrument in the hand of Lord. So likewise, we are all an instrument in the hand of a Lord. Okay. So whatever the work we are doing, we should never try to say the correct, because it is a Krishna who has what do you say, who has created that ability in us and who is doing all that thing. The sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all pervading. Similarly, the soul situated in the Brahman vision does not mix with the body, thou situated in the body. Okay, so that's how we it's example of a lotus leaf. We can say thou it stays in the dirty water, not even a single drop of water stay on it. Likewise, thou we are there in a material world, we should try to stay away from all those material entanglements and focus towards our bhakti. Okay. O son of Bharata, as the sun alone illuminates all this universe, so does a living entity, one within the body, illuminate the entire body by consciousness. So we need to sharpen that inner mirror which is given by the God, okay, by the knowledge. So that is possible only by doing the sadhana. If we are doing that so daily 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, increase slowly, the more amount of time, at least we are, that is a meaningful engagement. I mean to say, it's not like we are doing a Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, and that unattentive chanting and unattentive things, not like that. Meaningful conversations, more meaningful engagement, meaningful thing. If we are establishing a relationship with the Lord, automatically God will give us a required illumination, the knowledge by which we can differentiate what is what, and ultimately we can focus on going back to our Godhead. क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञयोरेवम् अन्तरं ज्ञानचक्षुषा भूतप्रकृतिमोक्षं च ये विदुर्यन्ति ते पराम्. One who knowingly sees this difference between the body and the owner of the body can understand the process of liberation from this bondage and also attain the supreme goal. So once we get detached, that means detached means we know like who is the possessor of the body, who is the owner of the body, because we are on a rent on this body for a certain period of one day we have to vacate this and go back. Isn't it? So once we have that concept, we know that ultimately we will try to channelize our mind and channelize our activity in such a way that we don't get entangled in the material manifestation. Okay. So once that realization comes, the seeing with the eyes of knowledge, that is a jnana chakshusa. The difference between the body and the knower of body will know, and the process of liberation from the bondage in the material nature will be evident. And the result is ultimately one attain the supreme goal, that is, we'll go back to the Godhead, Goloka. Okay. So this is the summary of 13 chapters. So Arjuna's 6th question about the Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetrakya, and the Jnanam and the Gyayam. And Arjuna answers to the questions one by one, all those things. Ultimately, he will say like what is Prakriti, he will describe what is Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Jnanam, and the Gyayam. And ultimate thing is that we need to identify that Lord is living in us in the form of a soul. And our ultimate purpose is to identify, to re-establish a relationship with the super soul and establish the connection in such a way that it illuminates us. So, only by doing the sadhana bhakti, it is possible. And by doing so, following the 4 regulative principles, taking shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, and all devotee association will help us to progress further in the bhakti. Okay. So ultimately, by doing so, we will be free from all material engagement and material entanglement. And we know that we are temporary on this body. And we know what is permanent and try to focus on the permanent, that is going back to Krishna. Okay. So if we get that knowledge, we are automatically unentangled from all this material manifestation. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Shri Radha Raman ki Jai. Any questions? This chapter is bit tricky, but the multiple readings are required to understand this. But still, I tried my best. Any doubts or anything you wanted to ask? Yes, you can. Anybody has any questions?
Yes, Mataji, I have one question. See, this cycle, Janma, Mrityu, Jwara, Vyadhi, now it says that if a person is not Krishna conscious, he is not liberated. He will come back to life all over again, right? So now, if that person has not done good deeds, if that person has not served the Lord in his life, okay, now then after his death, why do we do all these rituals? Will these rituals after his death help him in his next life? This
Yes.
is my question, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. That is the reason why they say for true Vaishnava and devotees in Krishna consciousness, automatically they get liberated. They don't have to undergo all the rituals, they say, Mataji.
That is what I am asking, Mataji. For a non-devotee dies, then that Shraddha, then the rituals which we do, is that effective? Is that needed? Because that person has not done anything in his life, no?
Yes,
So
Mataji.
after his death, his kins people, his relative will do that Shraddha, the Homa, and then all that. So will that have any effect on his next birth?
Yes, Mataji. They will get a better life, or whatever they are destined to as per the karma, that they will be getting, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any other questions or any realizations, anything anybody wanted to share? Okay. So our next chapter will be on 3 modes of material nature. That is Sattva Guna, Rajoguna and Tamoguna. Okay. So try to read vedabase.io because reading the purport will give you a lot of knowledge. Various analogies will be given and it will help us to understand the subject in a better way. One reading, two reading, definitely it will be not required. Maybe you have to give multiple readings to understand this, but at least start reading the translation and the meanings of that specific slokas. In that way you can start. Okay. If you're able to read the purports, then that's going to help you in a more better way. Okay. Hare Krishna. I think if there are no more questions, we can end the session. Fine then. Okay. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavabhyo namo namaha. Thank you, co-host and participants, for your active participation. See you all next Monday at 7 p.m. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.